Do it again. Do it again.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of The Other People. I am Jordan. With me, as always, is my good buddy, Andy.
Hello.
So, before we get started into whatever sort of random ramblings we may be having, I can't talk.
Nope. You
that
can.
we that we may get into, I have something I have got to get off my fucking chest. So I was going to call Andy about a few minutes ago to see if he wanted to start recording. And I have a paid subscription through Skype so that I can call him. See, in case, obviously, nobody has noticed, every single time Andy and I do these recordings, Andy does not have a computer, nor does he have access to the internet. And yet, I call him over Skype on his telephone.
Yeah.
And well, in order to do that through Skype, I have to have a paid subscription, and I do. And it's supposed to be paid every single month, and it just does that automatically, like, whenever you join up, with a website or whatever, that, you pay like, oh, you'll pay like such and such a month, and as long as if you have this subscription, you don't cancel it, you don't cancel your card or anything like that, which I haven't done in a while. You will continue to have this. Well, I tried calling him a few minutes ago, and I suddenly get this notification from Skype saying, "Oh, well, you have to have a subscription." I do have a subscription. I pay you $10 a month, and that's meant to give me unlimited phone calls anywhere in the country. What the hell? And at first I thought, oh, well, maybe that's just a weird glitch. And then I go to call him again, and it does it again. And I go over to my PayPal records to see, when was the last time I made a payment? The last time was about 5 days ago last month. So for some reason, the payment for this month didn't come up, or something got screwed up in the records. So I had to pay for another subscription. This one was a little bit cheaper. This one was like $8. So yay, I saved $2. But I swear to God, if I get another charge, which I have heard of happening on Skype, I've heard of people getting screwed over, like being billed multiple times by Skype, which is bullshit in the first place. And the fact that I even had to buy another subscription that I'm already paying a month is kind of bullshit.
Yes, it is.
But hey, that's life, and life hates you. So the topic that I was going to do, I've been struggling for the longest time to think, should this show be random, should we just talk about whatever is on our minds? But I'm really not sure I want to do that, just because of the fact that I realize that if we did do that, if I just randomly called up Andy and we did no real introduction or anything like that, we just did the show of us just talking about whatever. Mm-hmm. There would be a lot of dead air, and there would be a lot of editing that I would have to do, a lot more editing. And more than likely the show would just be a lot more boring than it already is. So
boring.
Yes.
Very boring.
And so anyway, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Because we can't have us talking at the same time, or else otherwise neither of us are going to be able to be heard. So and so for this topic, I was doing a little bit of thinking, because last night, my sister and I, we went out and we caught the second Captain America movie. And it was freaking awesome. So I thought, how about I pull up a list of the DC and Marvel movies? You know, like kind of go through a brief history, because I was kind of curious, like, what was the very first Marvel and what was the very first DC comic book movies? And the very first Marvel movie was, of course, Captain America in 1944, the original serial. And then you follow that up, and oh boy, in 1986, and it was co-produced by Lucasfilm. I'm waiting for you to catch on.
Lucasfilms.
Yes.
So you know it's quality.
Take a wild guess as to what it was.
These by Lucasfilms.
He does have a big.
I want to say Fantastic Four, but I'm probably wrong.
No. Fantastic Four wasn't until 94.
Okay.
86 was Howard the Duck.
Wow.
Howard the Duck, which, as a child, I remember enjoying. I'm sure if I were to watch it now, and I have the DVD, my sister bought it for me for Christmas as a gag gift.
So you could watch it.
I could watch it, and I might. I mean, I'm pretty bored today, so I just might do it. I do remember those alien creatures who showed up at the end. I remember those guys being really scary. I forget what they're called, though.
Yeah, I do, too. I remember liking the film.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if I would like it now.
Probably not. There are duck tits in it, which is odd.
Yeah.
And then you move over to DC. The very first DC movie was Superman and the Mole Men, made in 1951. It was a theatrically released pilot 1950s Adventures of Superman television series.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading up about that somewhere.
Yeah, and then about... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Or seeing it on the biography channel or something.
Yeah, probably. And then next, there about 3 years later, Stamp Day for Superman. It was a government-produced short film in the public domain department. Obviously about because it was produced the production quote-unquote production studio that's listed for it is United States Department of the Treasury. So yeah, so that just screams quality. But then again, it was 1954, so what do you expect?
Big Brother was watching you at that time.
Yeah. Well, they are still watching.
Yeah.
It's just that this time we're a lot more aware of it.
Mm.
And then in 1966, it was the very first Batman movie.
Oh, yeah, from with Adam West in it and whatnot.
Yeah. I know Brett and his wife, I guess like a couple of years ago, they saw that, I think on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and he said it was terrible. It was pretty horrible.
Well, of course.
There was a joke, or there was supposed to be a riddle in there that he was trying to tell me about how, I forget how it went. It was something about how, what do you call a penguin that has such and such? And the answer was something that made you go, that's not a riddle. That's just a really, 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 really shitty joke. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. And then you got about 12 years later when you got the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeves and it being taken seriously and actually done with some heart and some real effort. Well, and I mean, not to say that the other movies that were done were not done with some real effort, but I don't think a lot of them were taken seriously.
And they kind of were when the Superman TV series came out, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to take something seriously when the guy pretend like he's flying just kind of leaps onto the camera thing.
Yeah. Well, and from what I understand, how they did the original flying effect back then was he was just laying down on like a sheet of glass, and that was how they achieved the effect.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for like the mole man thing, then they basically did an animated thing.
Well, I've never seen it, so I wouldn't actually know.
I haven't either. I've just seen scenes of it, and that's how they did the flying effect. Is they just all of a sudden he turns into an animated Superman. Yeah.
And it's kind of funny when you look at how these first line of movies started. I mean, like the very first Marvel movie was in 1944, so like a decade before DC ever got started, but then they didn't do another one for another 40 years. And that next one just happened to be a huge flop, which was, the Howard the Duck movie.
Yeah.
And then
you got to remember back in 1944, we were in the middle of the war,
the
Second World War, and it was probably done as a thing, and that's kind of how Captain America came about anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And then here in, we get to the, this is kind of a dark age for Marvel in terms of a lot of the movies. In 1989, there was the original Punisher starring Dolph Lundgren.
Mm-hmm.
New World Pictures, which I believe later became New Line, if I'm correct. And then a year later, the Captain America movie.
Yeah.
Which I remember I saw on television, like probably 20 years ago when I was still a teenager. I remember seeing it at the video store. The original movie cover for it, and I go, oh yeah, I know him. From the comic books. And the movie is schlocky and terrible. There's this kind of running theme where he'll be in a car with somebody and then he'll say, could you please pull the car over? I think I'm going to be sick. And then he gets out of the car and pretends to be sick. And then when they, try to walk up to him, hey, Captain, are you okay? He suddenly bolts and steals their car.
Yeah.
So that's your superpower? You can slightly run faster than them? You douche. And,
and the fight scenes weren't very good either, as I remember.
Well, hell, the Captain America suit was really not that special either.
Yeah.
And then cut to 4 years later to a movie that was never even meant to be released. The original Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
And as I understand it, this was a movie that when it was originally made, the people that made it, they only did this so that they could, maintain the rights for a Fantastic Four movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I've never actually seen the movie. I do understand that there are ways of getting copies of it now. And from what I hear from people, it's actually really not that bad. I mean, in terms of some of the acting and then a lot of the effects, it's probably not as good. But when you compare this to the Fantastic Four movies that came out a couple of years ago, it's certainly done better. And that's just in terms of character, from what I understand.
Not necessarily in effect.
Yeah. Hold on. All right. Well, anyway, and let's move back over to the DC side. They of course had their string of Superman movies. They had the original Superman in '78, and then 2 years later they did Superman 2. And then about a couple of years later...
And then it went downhill from there.
Yeah. But actually, a couple of years after that, they had the Swamp Thing movie that I had never seen. I think I'd seen parts of the second Swamp Thing movie, which I understand is just terrible.
It's not terrible. It's this kind of typical 80s schlock action sci-fi type stuff.
Right.
It's not terrible, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I remember it being pretty cheesy.
It is, but, compared to how some things are done.
Yeah.
At the very least, it doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah. And, oof. Do you remember the Supergirl movie?
Vaguely. I remember that there was something to do with a witch and an artifact that came from Krypton that apparently increased her power or something.
Well, the story, as I understand it, was that I forget her Kryptonian name, but oh, you're going to hear that probably. Is that now, from what I understand from the original comics and then from the original Superman universe, was that there was a part of Krypton that did survive. It was called Kandor.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a city that had been miniaturized and was kept by Brainiac.
Yeah.
And I guess they kind of took that, but they changed the name of it, where it was the small civilization of people from Krypton who had survived, and they had this little device thing that was helping to keep them alive and everything. And apparently dumbass Supergirl is fucking around with it, and it goes crazy, and it goes off into a black hole, and she has to go off and go get it back. But the people who wrote this movie obviously don't know how to write plot, because as soon as she gets to Earth, she becomes Supergirl, and instead of going off and going to find the quote-unquote MacGuffin, she goes off and she joins an all-girls school and just proceeds in like all sorts of girls' antics. And the MacGuffin finds its way to Faye Dunaway, who's kind of slumming it in this movie, obviously. And she's a practicing witch, and the second that she finds this device, or when the device just happens to land right in the middle of her picnic, she just immediately knows that, oh, this gives me all the power I want. I could rule the world. But first, I need a man. That's literally the plot. They start fighting over a man.
Horse.
And it was, and I mean, I don't really remember the movie from some of the viewings. I know at one point Supergirl gets banished to this other realm because the guy that was mentoring her, he's there as well, and he helps her escape. And
yeah, with like no explanation as to why he's there. He's just kind of, I'm here and I'm going to help you escape.
Well,
okay.
Well, from what I understand, it was because after the device was lost, he told everybody that, oh, well, because of this, turns out I'm going to be sent to the Phantom Zone. And I think that's where he was and where she was sent after she first tries to fight the sorceress, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, and nobody really cares, to be honest.
Because it was a horrible movie.
Yeah. And so you still got the string of Superman movies, which ended with Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. So,
which no one likes.
Yeah, well, and for good reason. I mean, it was...
It was written horribly. It was done horribly.
Man, it was just...
It was schlock.
Yeah. And let's... Well, no, actually, if we do that, then we move back over into the 90s. So I guess let's just stick with DC, because later on, in '89 we had the very first, well, not actually the first, but what was considered to be the first for a lot of us. And I'm really noticing a huge like movie trend in DC's line, because like first in '78, for like 10 years, just a string of Superman related movies.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and then
Superman was kind of really big back then for some reason.
And then you get to '89 to '97, a string of Batman movies.
Mm-hmm. Because Batman got really big right about then.
Yeah. And apparently...
Well, he was big, but, just more so.
Yeah. And like, the only other... and I find this funny, because, like, the only other DC-related movie to come out in all that time frame, between '89 and '97, was Steel. And if this is the same Steel movie that I think it is, the one that stars Shaq, it is.
And it is, yes.
It was a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Shaq, and now I'm wearing a mech suit for some reason.
It wasn't even a
hammer.
It wasn't even a mech suit. It was that he took like pieces of like garbage or scrap or whatever, and just and he somehow posted it all together, and then that made his suit and everything. And it was probably the cheapest looking suit you could imagine.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget the hammer.
Yeah.
They have a hammer.
Yeah, the hammer. And I was barely even aware of Steel. Now, and if Steel is who I think he is he the same Steel that was related to after the whole Superman Returns thing? The death of Superman?
Yeah, there was this whole thing to where a bunch of people kind of tried to take up the mantle, and Steel was one of them.
Yeah. Now,
I think there was even a cyborg Superman at one point.
Yeah, I know that there was Superboy, right?
Yeah.
There was Steel. There was the cyborg Superman, which turned out to be evil. I know, big shock.
Yeah.
And then I remember there were two other Supermen. There was one who wore, and they had it in the animated movie, where it was he wore this suit that basically that absorbed all the sun's solar rays, which
that was the regular Superman. He just he had to have that suit on because he was recovering.
Yeah. And then
he wasn't at full strength yet.
And then you had another one where he wore these glasses because part of his his only thing was that he had heat beams from his eyes, and the glasses help do that. So, but Steel, I mean, that obviously could have been a good movie, but I guess because it was probably under budgeted, that it was just garbage.
Well, that and Shaq can't act his way out of a paper bag, but
yeah, true. All right, let's head back over to Marvel, where for only two other Marvel related movies came out in the 90s. You had the unreleased Fantastic Four movie in 1994, and then in 98 you had something that was kind of unexpected. You had Blade.
Oh,
yeah. That I don't think. Well, because for one thing, I mean, I wasn't really all that big into comics then anymore, and I never even knew that Blade was a comic character. Hell,
until years later.
Yeah, and and it was a really good movie.
Yeah, well, they actually did well with it.
Yeah.
Now, grant you, the third one wasn't good, but
no,
new. But the first two were.
Oh yeah. I know there are some people who don't care for the second one. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it's got some questionable things, like them bringing back Wesker. That was his name, wasn't it?
Whistler, you mean?
Whistler. That was close.
Yeah. Well, it was because they tried to kill him off in the first one. Not a lot of people really liked that, so they decided to bring him back.
Yeah.
And
I can kind of understand it, but
yeah,
it's still questionable to me.
Yeah.
They're going to kill a guy off, just leave him dead.
Yeah. And then you gotta love how for the third one, they kill him off at the beginning. Like, look, make up your damn mind. Is he gonna be in these movies or not?
Yeah.
And I mean, at least in the first one, his death was, it actually served its purpose. I mean, it did what it was supposed to do.
Yep.
And then, I guess, in the second one, they thought, like, well, people actually really liked him, and, yeah, okay, let's just bring him back. Which I was actually okay with. My problem with the second one is the whole sort of little love story that they do between Blade and the princess, or whoever the hell she is.
Oh, yeah, and the pure-blooded vampire, yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, that was kind of a little weird.
I mean, it wasn't weird. It was just done very poorly. I mean, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and her acting is meh.
Yeah.
And... Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I thought the rest of the movie was pretty good. I mean, the new vampires, the Reapers, I thought they were pretty cool. And then a movie I remember hearing about when I was in the frickin' 4th grade, being really excited about, and just wondering, like, okay, well, when's it out? I mean, when's it coming? When's it coming? And then never hearing about it for another 10 years, until a friend of mine one day said, dude, that movie, it's coming. Like, whatever. I remember hearing about that movie, when I was a kid. Blah, blah, blah. No, man. I saw a trailer for it last night, and this dude, he had, like, these, like, blades that were, like, coming out of his hands. I'm like, oh, well, okay. I guess we'll see. And then, just kind of reading about it, and then reading up about a lot of the cast, and being like, I don't know who the hell any of these people are. These costumes look kind of stupid, so I don't even know if this is even going to work. And then going to the theater, and I forget who I saw it with first. I don't remember if I saw it with my brother, my sister, or my friends. But in the year 2000, we finally got our X-Men movie. And damn, it was good.
Yes, it was.
I will admit, if you probably go back now and I mean, the original plot for it is that Magneto has this device that generates mutations in people. I will admit, it's kind of a dumb plot.
Yeah, a little bit, but it served its purpose. It established the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does work. I mean, it might have been a little better if had they gone with something, I don't know, maybe something else, like, other than, oh, he has this device. I don't know. I mean, it certainly might have given a bit more for the character of Rogue to do, as opposed to, oh, she's the plot device. Yeah,
and she was just kind of there.
Yeah. And I mean, she did at least have her own character, in that, she was a character wherein, like, she had this terrible burden of the idea of, like, I can never touch another human being without ever killing them. And, and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I mean, an unknown actor.
And he nailed it.
Yeah. And I mean, he just did a very good job. I mean, everybody in there, they did a great job. I mean, Ian McKellen, who I knew from nothing, although he was in The Shadow.
Yep.
And I think he had a very, very a very small role in that movie, though. But yeah, I mean, he was in that movie. But yeah, but him as Magneto, I mean, he did, such a fine job, and as he's, continued to do, I mean, hell, I mean, he was freaking Gandalf for Christ's sake, and he pulled that shit off.
Mm-hmm.
And and it was just a good all around movie, and I mean, hopefully, if I were to go back and rewatch it now, it would still hold up.
Yeah, I'd imagine it would.
And then, let's see, you had a whole bunch of different movies that came out because this was obviously when Marvel said, hey, maybe we can really start, delving out a lot of our other characters, because 2 years after X-Men, we had Blade 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the very first Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
Which I haven't seen again in a while now.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen it again recently?
Not really. I really haven't seen any of them since the third one with Tobey Maguire in it.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I'm not that interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the new one coming out, though.
Yeah. Did you like the first Spider-Man movie?
Yeah, I remember enjoying it.
Yeah.
But, having, some questions, the whole web-slinging thing is actually a part of him instead of it being a device, but...
Yeah.
That just... it's kind of questionable, but not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I think the only part that really, I mean, it didn't bother me. It just came off as really, really cheesy. But you have to remember, for the time, when this movie came out, the whole scene on the bridge when he's trying to rescue the carriage car full of all the kids, and Mary Jane.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, and then you got all those people on the bridge that are chucking shit at the Green Goblin, who starts shouting, "You mess with Spidey, you mess with New York! You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us!" And
yeah,
it's like, oh, good God, that is...
Yeah.
But you have to remember the time, and, and kind of the feeling, and, not anymore.
Oh,
certainly not anymore. But I would imagine, because I've had a number of people say that, oh man, you go back and you watch that original Spider-Man movie, ooh, it's bad. It's bad. I mean, the Green Goblin costume now, how everybody just makes the joke about how, he's the Green Ranger. And I will agree, that's bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that good of a costume.
No. And Willem Dafoe, I mean, he's really chewing up that scenery in there as the Green Goblin.
Oh, yeah.
And, all right, well, have you seen The Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah, I own The Amazing Spider-Man. I actually like The Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay. Then would you say that Andrew Garfield is a better Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire was?
Not really. Because that's really the only part I don't like about him is him as Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it works, but... It's, I don't know, kind of hard to describe. It's just, I don't like his acting, I guess.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that, oh, well, I think his acting is a little bit better. I know there were a lot of people who go back now and they complained about how Tobey Maguire, he constantly looks like that he's moping and moaning throughout all of the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, and
Yeah, I will say this though.
yeah,
For Amazing Spider-Man, at least they kind of captured more of the essence of Spider-Man. You know,
Yeah.
kind of that smart-ass type character, and the fact that he actually has web shooters now instead of it just being a part of him for some reason.
yeah. My only complaint though is that I think they did that a bit too much. I mean, like when I was watching the scene of him, when he webs up the carjacker guy.
Yeah, they did go a little overboard with it.
Yeah, and I like how somebody online commented about how I mean that's great and all, but really you kind of just came off more of as a jerk. You know, if anything, it's like
he kind of did, but
and something
overall,
I never
still liked it.
Yeah. And something I never realized until I really thought about it, like all throughout those 3 original Spider-Man movies, only in the first movie and even before he's Spider-Man, he only cracks one joke.
Yep.
The rest of the time, it's all serious. And it's while he's wrestling Macho Man Randy Savage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't so much what we know as Spider-Man. He kind of
it just wasn't really there, yeah.
Yeah.
I do wonder if I was to go back and rewatch the first and the second, because those were really the only 2 that I really liked.
Yeah. The third one was this kind of, what the hell, man?
Well, the third one they tried to do way too much.
Oh, yeah. Instead of, like, just focusing in on a couple things and maybe making a 4th movie.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we'll just put everything we want to do for 2 movies and just put it into 1 movie and just hope for the best. And it just didn't work.
And Peter Parker emo haircut dancing.
Yeah.
I never really saw that part, because there was...
I did. It was horrible.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, yeah, I'm bad, because I got all my hair up in my eyes, and I like to dance.
Yeah.
What the hell kind of tone are you going for, Sam Raimi? What the... Oh, yeah, that's right, I forgot. You're Sam Raimi. You only know one tone.
Ah.
God damn it. I'm sorry. Oh, man, I really don't. I mean, I can only really like maybe a couple of Sam Raimi movies, but it seems like...
Mostly Evil Dead stuff.
Even then, I mean... it seems like sometimes like he can't settle with just one tone. Like, he has to do all of it. Like, okay, we're doing horror. Okay, we're doing thriller. Okay, we're doing comedy. Like,
we're doing all 3!
You can't... you can't do Peter Parker dancing and being silly and then have him slap his girlfriend or whatever it is that happens that then, makes him go all mopey and moany again, which has him end up at the church. I mean, you can't have him do that. If that was how
it's freaking that's pretty much how it happened, and it was freaking jarring. Just like okay, he's happy soon. It's like okay, now he's just hit Mary Jane. It's like now he's all moody. What the hell?
Yeah, it's like you can't do that.
I'm just sitting there like pick a damn emotion already.
and yeah, I mean, again, they did too much. Like they did the black suit. They did Venom, who's only in the last bit of the damn movie. They did Sandman.
Yeah. They even did a redo of the Green Goblin.
Yeah. I was trying to think, like, who am I forgetting? Oh, yeah, that's right, the new Green Goblin. That just turns up at the very beginning of the damn movie, loses his memory, and then kind of sort of comes back. And then comes back again at the end, but now he's a good guy.
Yeah. And just...
and...
They really should have just stuck with, like, the black suit thing in Sandman, and then saved, like, Venom for a 4th fucking movie.
Yes. And Topher Grace as Venom, no.
No.
I'm sorry, no, that was bad casting.
Not only no, but fuck no.
I can like Topher Grace as an actor. He's been a very good actor.
Yeah, it's just, that's not his thing, man.
No. All right, well, let's move on from that rant, because there were a few other movies here that I was going to mention. There was the Spider-Man movie. Then we had Daredevil. Did you like Daredevil?
I know some people don't like Daredevil. I was okay with it.
Yeah. I could see potential in Daredevil, but they kind of fucked it up.
Yeah, they did a little bit. They did a little miscasting with it.
I don't necessarily think that it was miscasting. Maybe some bad direction, and
a little bit of that too.
And I don't know. I can't really pin my finger on exactly because there are a lot of moments of really corny dialogue between characters. And you got some terrible moments, and then you have the outlandishly ridiculous CGI, which was very prevalent, like all throughout these last couple of movies.
Yeah.
But like in case of Spider-Man, you expect that, because he's web slinging, he's doing all these incredibly agile things that no real human can actually do, blah 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 blah. Yeah. But it just kind of becomes distracting a little bit.
That was kind of like in the middle of the thing before they realized, hey, CGI doesn't look exactly real. Maybe we ought to mix in a little bit of practical effects to kind of break it up and make it look more realistic.
Yeah. And actually, just to break away from this one, somebody did a list a while ago. I can't remember who it was, but they did a list of like some scenes that they called like really bad CGI effects or whatever. And one scene that they pointed out is that big Mr. Smith fight in the middle of The Matrix 2. Which I was like, yeah, kind of. But for the time, that was really damn impressive. And the fight was great. I will admit, the over CGI where like everybody just looks like a video game character.
Yeah, but at the time, that was pretty much how they had to do it.
Yeah. And that fight, I still think it holds up. So.
Yeah.
And anyway, and actually, just to get back to Daredevil, the scenes that I really did like were the diner scenes. The scenes between Ben Affleck and Jon Favreau, where they're just talking. I really like those scenes. Those scenes were really good.
Yeah. I did kind of like the final fight scene between him and
Kingpin?
Oh, shit.
You're trying to remember the name of the actor?
No, Kingpin. There we go.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's all right.
Going deaf.
I remember there were quite a few people who were screaming, the Kingpin is not black! The Kingpin is not black! Like, what white actor could possibly play Kingpin? Do you know anybody who's as tall or as physically menacing to play Kingpin who's white?
Yeah.
Especially
without
at
them
the time.
looking like a bodybuilder.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, you know what? They made it work, so calm down.
Yeah, probably like the same people when they did like the Ultimate Marvel series and they changed Nick Fury from white to black.
Yeah.
Probably complained about that. It's like, Nick Fury's not black. It's like, you know what? You're a racist, dude.
I think
Nick Fury be black.
I don't think that it was them being racist. I think it was them, because here's this character who's been well established. Now, yeah, it is a different universe, but at the same time, you're taking an established character from one universe to the other, and you decide to change his skin color.
Mm.
You know, and I can understand people being like, "Why the fuck did you do that?" Like, they decided to do something slightly different. Hell, I don't know. I mean,
I think that's pretty much all they changed about Nick Fury's character. Is they just made him black.
Yeah. And of course, and from that, when they started doing a lot of the Avengers related movie stuff, Nick Fury was black. But that's okay.
And Samuel Jackson.
So,
yeah, I could actually see that working because before that actually happened back in the mid-'90s, we had David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that movie is not even listed on here. The Nick Fury movie. That is not listed
that just
on
gives
here.
you an idea how bad that is.
Yeah. I know I saw Obscurus Lupa. She did a review for it, and yeah, it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just pure. I mean, I think it was made in the late 80s. I mean, just from the quality, I think it was made in the late 80s.
No, it was actually made about the early 90s.
Oh.
Early to mid-90s, and it was kind of a direct-to-TV movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, maybe that's why it's not related here in the movie section. I wonder. There was the Invisible Man, but no. Those are the animated movies, television series, Doctor Strange, Captain America, Power Pack. Okay, the death of the Incredible Hulk, Generation X. Yeah, here it is. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., made in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
TV movie.
Yeah.